everybody. Hope you're well. These days, these times, astrologically, there's a lot going on. So calmness and patience would be the game to play. Um, we've got um, we've got some lovely weather moving through at the moment, catching some rainfall. I hope you guys have got good water in your worlds. Hydration is key. They say we're only about 70% water these days, but we used to be 85%. So that's probably in the equivalent of how much brain we're not using as well. And we're on the decrease of brain functionality. And give thanks to those that explore channels like this that entertain the opportunity of higher states of awareness. Awareness is a thing in relation to our world today, and the mundane astrology aspect of forecasting the circumstances that could be felt by the wider world is one thing to address. Please be using a sidereal zodiac in relation to that, as the tropical zodiac is based on our ego and the sun being the center of it. The sun being our ego. Where the sun lies is where our ego lies. So when we want to talk a bit more about astrology, if you'd like a little bit more of a use case scenario, practiced but learnt before practiced, ultimately leave a comment. I'm not going to go too deep into the astrology over the coming week, but we're leading up to the full moon in Leo. It's currently the 1st of February. The year's 2023. We have astrological dates, and we have seasonal celebration dates as well. And the opportunity to engage in those is one thing, to bring a little bit of ceremony and tradition into our lives, see the cycles occurring, be acclimated to them in relation to our choices, our intentions. And we are in now a waning sun, obviously, since the summer solstice here in the southern hemisphere. So we are waning the sun. We're normally talking about waxing moons and waning moons. Waxing being obviously increasing, growing. But the sun is now decreasing now to back to the winter solstice, which is my birth, and solar cycle. So when we're looking at the waning of the season, of the sun, of the light, we are celebrating elements that relate to the telluric current, what comes from the earth, often misguided in relation to the relationship to light and dark, the duplicity, the biennial. Whereas when we take a look at more of an earth-based science, we see more opportunity to recognize the ternial, the 3 points of reference. Could be the good, bad, and the opportunistic. And the opportunistic is going to maximize the value in them. I'm not going to go into the darker side that people might reference, because I don't want to frighten people in relation to it. But it'd be interesting if you were to do some research into King Solomon's 78 demons that he bound to be able to use in relation to his prophecies. And you might just find that many of them, in fact, pretty much like about 70 of them out of the 78, predominantly have positive relations to what you can manifest from them. And it would be worth the while to exercise some due diligence in relation to that. It's an opportunity to understand the depths that are being misled in relation to all that is hidden, not seen, or ultimately the occult. So I am referencing a bit in relation to some of the tarot aspect of astrology a lot of the time, and my readings, especially natal readings, and to a degree, the mundane readings that I'm doing in relation to the world allows me to cross-reference the forecast that I might perceive in relation to it. I see people doing tarot readings for zodiac signs for the month ahead, or for the week ahead, and they're basically clickbait. The desire of them is to be an influencer, as opposed to influential. And there's a difference in that. We don't need to describe so much in this particular moment, but worthwhile understanding the relationship to that. So, yeah, my journey here today is to encourage you to explore that is hidden, that is not seen. Explore the relationships to where our society has designed itself to see the future, to desire a future, where those desires come from. My interests are to make sure that we have an opportunity in exploring the deep, dark secrets behind some of the intentions occurring. And if we understand why the systems are designed in the way that they are to condition our spirit, our souls, in relation to the acceptance of outcomes in the future, it'll give us an opportunity to understand where the relationship is that we find ourselves in these future moments. Questioning ultimately how we can navigate the times before it's too late, before the markets crash, before the housing interest rates go through the roof. Obviously all stuff I've been talking about for at least a year and a bit now, a year and a half, warning people in relation to making some rash decisions last minute because they feel like maybe they're getting left out. Well, it's that fear base that actually holds the most weight in relation to our responses, which ultimately are more reactions, because if we had a response ability, we would be doing a lot more due diligence in relation to the response potential than the reactive nature of feeling a bit panicky, and now obviously having good right to, based on many aspects of the relationships that are occurring. So, the forecasts of the months ahead are quite unique, and there are some planetary and asteroid, Sedna being one of them. Do you know Sedna takes 11,000 years to go around the sun? And Sedna is about to move from Taurus into Gemini. Now Sedna rules the oceans. Sedna rules the waters, and she's upset. So I'd be relating some circumstances to water, which I've already been discussing in relation to Saturn coming into Pisces. But Sedna probably has a little bit more of a long-term aspect. I think Sedna moved into... where does she move into? She moved into Taurus in like 1962 or something like that. So she spends a moment in a zodiac, as you could imagine, with an 11,000 year cycle around the sun. Something to be aware of. But yes, we have some interesting relationships to the aspects that are occurring. And then we want to go back into our own zodiacs, and we want to understand how that's going to affect us in relation to the situation that we will be relating to with these aspects occurring. You want more information? I recommend that you find it. Forewarned is forearmed. And you can be a prepper in any number of ways. Most cases, the people that are prepping in the sense of fear haven't prepared their soul for the understanding of what the ascension actually looks like. And when we look at the potential for self, it's a lot more than in the comparison of the material world. So materialistically, we are probably indebted. Spiritually, we are probably broke or bankrupt. And from those two angles, we take a look at what the future might look like in any number of given situations. So I look forward to sharing a little bit more depth in relation to these things. Sustainability is a subject, and it feels weird to integrate these subjects into this channel. But we're not going to be sustainable if we don't have our own home, house and home, body and mind, soul and vicinity in order. And order can only come from chaos. And chaos can only come from an understanding and a willingness to break everything down to that which has not been experienced, to then be experienced within the chaos, to come to our own conclusions of where we are at. And we're not all at the same place, as much as we don't all come from the same place. And that is a wrap.